Namaskar. We started this journey in May, getting to know each other. And this is the final and the 8th webinar in the series. We hope more centers will join, and then we can have another series later on. So let's begin. We have the 7 centers today presenting. And the first one to start is Sri Aurobindo Society, West Bengal. Please try and keep to the time, 10 minutes to 12 minutes max, every center. So I invite the West Bengal Sri Aurobindo Society to please begin. And everybody else keeps their mics on mute. Thank you.
A very good evening to you all. Yes, before sharing the screen, I would like to tell you that Sri Aurobindo Society is registered under West Bengal Society Act in the year 19 September 1960. So I will share this. Sorry, the invite is not opening. Can you see? Can you visible? Is it visible to you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And so this West Bengal State Committee, actually, it is situated in Sri Aurobindo Bhavan. And this Bhavan, it is established in the centenary year, 1972, of Sri Aurobindo's centenary year. Srimati Indira Gandhi ji took charge of this building, and then it is separately another organization is running there, that is Sri Aurobindo Shamiti. And here in this building, our Sri Aurobindo Society West Bengal lies. These few pictures are there. This is the relics at Sri Aurobindo Bhavan, and this is our office room. And here we normally we do the meetings and quarterly meetings of this Sri Aurobindo Society West Bengal, other branches and centers. Here one Oro service is there. It is visible, I think. All the products of Pondicherry and few products of the different centers of West Bengal. It is displayed here. Now, I want to tell you that all over the West Bengal, our branches and centers are distributed. There are 14 branches and 10 centers. As you know, the branches are registered in Sri Aurobindo Society. This is the property of Sri Aurobindo Society. And centers are individually run, but connected to us. There are 5 centers which have the relics. So now I will show you. This is the very important branch, that is Konnagar branch. That is the ancestral property of Sri Aurobindo, Konnagar. I think you have heard, all of you have heard the place, name of that place. So this is the Konnagar Sri Aurobindo Bhavan, and one archive is there before going to Pondicherry. The family history, archive of family history is there. This is the this meditation room and building as it is visible. This is the Konnagar branch where this property belongs to Sri Aurobindo's, and this is ancestral property. Now it belongs to Sri Aurobindo Society. And then I will show an interesting place, that is Andaman, Port Blair. We have a branch at Port Blair also. This is the central jail, and this is the meditation room. And this picture, this is 21st February 2022. So after a long gap, all have gathered to celebrate a mother's birthday. And now I will show you the 5 various branches, that is at Durgapur, Bankura, Ranaghat, Shiliguri, and Ashoknagar. These are the 5 branches which have the relics. And normally, Sri Aurobindo Society West Bengal is dealing with the integral education, the different projects of integral educations and Swadhyay camps, teachers camp, women's camp, youth camp. All these camps we organize here in the different branches, and also outside our society office, that is in different school, colleges, and like that. So these are some pictures of children's camp, women's camp, teachers camp, and other activities. So these are some pictures where in this Bardhaman branch and Raiganj center, all are very, it's a huge property we have, and the number of members are more than 1700. So all are very active and just participate in these programs and everything. And Auro youth camps, we have organized Auro youth camp till date. Lastly, we have one Auro youth camp was done in Kalimpong also. So in this way, our work is spreading all over the West Bengal, and then there's some children's camp. We have 5 play schools, one at Durgapur, at Maithon. Although this Maithon center is in Jharkhand, but from the Pondicherry head office, it is given to West Bengal to look after this Maithon branch. This is this sports grounds seen is the Maithon center, where the school is there. All the school's name is Mother's Children Preparatory School. One is in Bardhaman, one is Bakura, and Durgapur, Asansol. In this way, there are 5 play schools. Okay. Sorry. And now the interesting thing which I want to share with you, that when I went to start a center at Kalimpong, we found that already there was a centenary celebration committee and established in the year 1972. Some few Nepali devotees were there who started this. And later when searching, so we have done a research work on that, and there was a bust, Sri Aurobindo's bust, just in front of the police station at the center of the town. Interesting thing that time Mr. Jagannath Pradhan translated Durga Stotra in Nepali language, and the ideal children also in the Nepali, and distributed in the various schools at Kalimpong. It is our center is established on 22nd August 2014, and it is in the Darjeeling district. And later on in the next year, I mean in 2015, we started another center at Darjeeling itself. So these two centers are really very precious to us, because no one was interested in this Sri Aurobindo's work initially, but now they are just developing. There's so much interest and so much inquisitiveness that it really touches us. So I think I didn't take any much more time. So here I am just finishing it. Thank you, Anuradha. Thank you so much, all of you.
Namaskar. The people in Uruguay is not inside. I think they can't go inside, but can try to do in English. If
You-
they come, you can see the space if they can enter. So, Espacio Abierto Ser is the name, and began in 2016, working with Sri Aurobindo and Mother's teaching. It's a very few people that work and are together. Some of the works that we do is to read the Savitri in Spanish language, because in English we can't, but we did it in 2 years. After this, some workshops, 3 hours workshops, 6 times to talk about Savitri, and with other person that do something of Nada yoga, very interesting experience. The place we work usually daily with something like Hatha yoga that is more known in South America. People do not know very much about yoga and less about integral yoga, but little by little we are working in this. People study about Aurobindo teaching. We read about essays on the Gita. We study 1 year together this book. I do not know how much to say. To say that I was in Kolkata center, and it's very nice people. They help me with the know about the places that I can meet out Sri Aurobindo light. Especially, I went to Uttarpara speech where he did this, and it's very beautiful. Well, Uruguay is a small country, only 3 million people, but people that come to begin with Hatha yoga, after some time, we do some talks about Sri Aurobindo Mother, or the same from Auroville to the people can know about the place. I have no photos to share, but because the people that coming inside, maybe they have. So
I think Alejandra is also online. Is she from your center also, Alejandra?
yes.
I saw her online. If she would.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here, but I'm not the one who has the photographs. And the people that is in the center now, it's having trouble to connect. So I don't know, Rafael, if you want me to say any more about the teacher training.
¿Se entendió en inglés lo que estaba diciendo?
Rafael is concerned about if what he said was understood. I think it was, but perhaps it's because I know what he's wanting to say.
I think it was understood about the Hatha yoga and the study of various books and Savitri. That was understood. It would be nice to know, how did the center begin?
¿Cómo comenzó el centro, Rafa?
Because, bueno, conocí el yoga hace 11 años atrás, y mi maestro decía que era yoga integral. Él murió. Luego estudiando, contacté que Aurobindo era quien lo guiaba cuando leí La vida divina.
Pausa, por favor. Rafael knew yoga for the first time 11 years ago, and his teacher told him that it was integral yoga and told him about the Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. And when he read the Divine Life, go on, please. Continúa después de lo que leíste la vida divina.
Con lo que leí.
He felt passionate with what he read.
Y entonces
and then he kept on studying, and in 2016 he founded the Espacio Abierto that we can translate like self-open space. And then in 2018, he started to teach a training program for yoga instructors that lasts 2 years. And in the third year, after completing the instructors, they can start studying Bhagavad Gita and the Yoga Sutras through the sights, the vision of Sri Aurobindo with Rafael guidance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Madhvi from Boston Sri Aurobindo Center. Our center is almost 50-year-old, and it was used to run by Mickey Finn and Angel Finn, and he passed away afterwards. His wife Angel, she's true to her name, Angel. She used to run the center. Almost 4 years ago, she was having health issues, so she decided to pass the center responsibilities, and she was looking for someone to do it, so I volunteered. She passed it on to me, so we started this, and I took over the center almost 4 years ago, and then the pandemic came, and then everything went on Zoom. So basically, Boston Center is run on Zoom. We teach a lot of classes and meditation groups and a lot of collective work. Everything is online. We also conduct darshans, Zoom darshans. We have members from Slovakia. We have members from Canada join us and all over United States. We run the center. There is no head or primary teacher. We all collaborate with each other. We run about 10 classes on weekdays, and Sunday we take a Saturday break, and then Sunday we do agenda group. So I will show you my programs if I can share the site. Look like site. I don't have the access sharing here.
You have access. Everybody can share.
In Pondicherry right now, not in the Boston Center. I'm using somebody's laptop. So share the screen. Okay.
Do you want me? Okay.
Okay. Can you see the screen now? This is our website. It is Boston Sri Aurobindo Center, and I will show you my programs. Everything is online. Everybody is welcome to join. We basically focus on exclusively what Sri Aurobindo and Mother has written. Sometimes we incorporate books like, Monadas books, and sometimes we read Savitri with the Hoota's paintings, Satprem's Adventures of Consciousness, to introduce new students who are new to this yoga. But other than that, mainly we focus on exclusively on every book written by Mother and Sri Aurobindo. We read all the 17 volumes of the Mother, and read all the books. I will just give you an idea of the table here. Monday, we run two groups, one in the afternoon. Summer schedule is afternoon class. In the daytime. Generally from September to June, we do classes at 10 a.m. in the morning. Monday, synthesis of yoga twice. Some people prefer coming in the daytime. Some of them who are working and busy can't come in the daytime. They come at 7:30 in the night, 7:30 to 9. On Tuesday, recently we finished the Adventures of Consciousness. So we are reading Sri Aurobindo Letters on Yoga, all volumes. We are in the first volume right now. And that is Tuesday daytime group. Tuesday evening, we do the Secret of the Veda. We finish that. We are reading Mystic Fire right now. The Wednesday morning is exclusively Wednesday is for Savitri. This was the tradition built from 50 years by Mickey and Angel Finn. I follow the same format they used, and we do study. We start with Om, and then we play Mother reading Savitri, whichever the section or canto we are reading. We replay the recording of the Mother first, and then we individually read a page, and then we proceed into meditation with Sri Aurobindo's Gayatri Mantra. And then we end with Om. That happens on Wednesday morning, and then also, or afternoon based on the season. And then Wednesday evening, we also conduct the same group, but sometimes some people attend both groups on the same day. Some people prefer once a day. So we are open to anyone who wants to come. And this has to be pre-registered. We don't give passwords and links to everybody. They have to submit their information. We need to know who they are and their little bit of their background, and then we share our links and passwords to join our group. Most of the members who attend our group are a lot of members are, been in this path for a very, very long time, and some of them are maybe probably a couple are new, and most of them are like 20, 30 years into this path of yoga. They have a lot of knowledge. We share with each other. It's very democratic way of conducting the groups. And Monday to Friday, both in the morning and the evening. Sunday group, Michael Miovich, my husband, runs the Sunday group agenda. When we go to Thursday, we read daytime, the Life Divine, and evening also Thursday, we read Life Divine, exclusively Synthesis of Yoga, Life Divine, Savitri, and Agenda. We are going to rerun the cycles. Once we finish it, we go back and start from the beginning. New people can join us at the beginning of the new cycle. And Friday, we read right now, we are reading The Problem of Rebirth by Sri Aurobindo. And Friday evening, we just started the collected works of the Mother, 17 volumes. And we are in the first volume right now. I'm in India right now, Pondicherry. I'm not in Boston. I just came here for darshan. So I'm not really sure. Volunteers, like each group was run by different member of our center. So I'm not sure exactly which page, which volume they are in. I will go back on the 17th, and then I will take over the responsibilities of running the center by then I will have a clear picture of where we exactly are. Sunday, we have a Savitri bilingual group was conducted by Miguel, one of our member, and his wife. They are from, I think, Mexico, and she translates Savitri into Spanish page by page, and they read both English and Spanish versions, and they meditate on it. We offer this group opportunity from my center. Anybody is interested who could join. This group was on Zoom, need to be pre-registered, need to be accepted by Miguel and his wife Gloria, and then they will introduce newcomers or existing members or long timers, whoever is interested in Spanish are welcome to join. And Sunday evening we do agenda group. This is going on for my husband running this group for almost 6 years. I'm not sure exactly which volume they are in. This cycle will be rerun every time when they finish. And we also conduct all darshan days, which is we follow the ashram calendar, and we conduct all Zoom darshans, and we have more foot traffic either on the Zoom or in person on darshan days more than regular days. There are some people will come for a short time and they go away, they come back. It's very flexible, but there are very few dedicated members, and they come every day. We have one member, he's from Texas. He joins twice a day. Even if I repeat live divine, he comes twice a day. He's very knowledgeable. So this is basically Boston Center. We have a little bit of library, exclusive meditation room. We received some relics for the Boston Center. This time I'm here at the ashram and Auroville. We have some gifts were received for the center. So far 50 years, we never asked anything for, and finally I decided to ask for some relics, and we announced that later, but right now I have them with me. But when I go back to Boston, I will put it on our website what we received and what we have. And on this is the current schedule. We are full. I run classes exactly on Zoom 6 hours a day, and the before and after I had a prep time I need to prepare for, and but in future, in couple of years, we want to publish some books, and we also want to conduct some retreats, and we want to develop programs for the brand new individuals who never been to this yoga but wanting to learn and wanting to know how gently can practice this yoga. I just met in Pondicherry a girl, and her parents came from Australia. They heard about Sri Aurobindo, and they ended up at the ashram gate and was wanting to know, and I happened to pass by. They stopped me, asked for information, and they want to join Boston Center and start practicing this yoga. So like that's the center is growing, and we have very, very dedicated individuals all over the United States, Slovakia, and Canada. These are the main countries, country people which are involved at this point. We have about 68 members, dedicated members, but out of them, around 30 people will show up every week, probably twice a week, 3 times. It depends upon their time and availability. We have 30 dedicated members show up every week. And there are other 38 comes for darshans or here and there based on their availability. And we also introducing Sri Aurobindo's yoga to children. Boston has a tradition of doing that. And my children was raised in the Boston Sri Aurobindo Center. They call themselves Aurobindonians. If anybody asks them, one day their teacher asked them, "What's your religion?" They were teaching religions of the world. They said, they asked, "You look like Indian, and are you Hindu?" And they were a little confused. They were little children. They said, "No, we are not Hindu." Then they said, "What are you? Are you Buddhist? Are you Hindu? Are you Muslim? Are you Christian? What are you?" And then my children said, "We are Aurobindonians." And the teacher said, "I never heard this. What is this?" And then she said, "Go to your mom, ask her to explain what this is, and we want to know and introduce that to the schools and as a new thing." And then, so it's like that. My kids call themselves Aurobindo. We raised a lot of children, babies, from babies to Boston. Sri Aurobindo Center had a lot of babies grew up, and now they are in grad schools and they follow Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And, that's our work. I don't want to take any more time. Basically, we want to teach the global evolution of consciousness as taught by Mother and Sri Aurobindo. And we tend to stay away from interpretations of the books written about Mother and Sri Aurobindo's works. We directly go into what Sri Aurobindo and the Mother said and invoke the Mother and Sri Aurobindo's consciousness and how we can grow spiritually and get the direct guidance from her and progress based on each psychic being and each of our growth and how she guides us as collectively as individually. That's our mission so far. It may change a little bit in the future, but this is all we are doing. Thank you. And
So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I think we're covering all time zones here. Thank you, Anuradha, and also SAIEN for giving us this opportunity to present to you Oromira Center, UK, the land where Sri Aurobindo had lived for 14 years. So we are very blessed that we are a center in England. So I start. There's some interruption there, I think. I start with the home page here. So our web address is oromira.org. And this is just the home page where we put on the daily quote that we take from the calendar that most people would probably have. And we also use this for the bulletin board for our events. And then there is a tab there for weekly quotes, which is where we upload quotes that we send out twice a week. And so please do visit this particular website if you get the opportunity. I should like to say that Oromira Center is a center of aspiration to rise to a higher consciousness, to harmonize all contraries. And we feel that if we work in harmony from a higher standpoint from the ordinary, then we will make a difference elsewhere. And this harmony is tangible at the center, and it helps all of us to realize our individual missions within the collective framework. I will take you through a brief history of Oromira Center. The first seed, it was in 1981 with some humble beginnings in an ordinary family home. That's my home, my father, mother, and my sister, where we started off with regular meditations and putting up daily messages and similar small activities. This was expanded to inviting lecturers both from India as well as within UK. And this expanded with an increasing footfall to the point where in 1983, it was recognized as a center where people could come to meet for this philosophy. For 2 years between 86 and 88, we had become part of Sri Aurobindo Society, but in 1988, we became independent, and the center was named as Oromira Center in 1989. We adopted a charitable status in 1997, and currently we have 4 trustees in this charitable trust. And this was just before we were blessed with the arrival of Sri Aurobindo's relics in 1998 on the 1st of January. And these were brought to us by the late Manoj Das. And as you can see that January 23 will be our 25th anniversary, which we're planning to celebrate as grandly as we are trying to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Sri Aurobindo's birth. We were further blessed with the arrival of a chair that had been used by the mother in 2002, and we housed this in one of our rooms, which we call the New Creation Hall. And a significant moment in the history of Oromira Center was when the full ownership of the properties, so that's 2 houses and the land in front and at the back, was transferred from the family, so that's my family, and completely to Oromira Trust just before the pandemic hit all of us. That's in 2020. So just a few photos here. So on the top left is the frontage, also one of the 2 buildings that forms part of Oromira Center. The middle photograph on the top is looking out into the garden from our meditation room, and right at the back is the shrine area, and this is a close-up of the shrine area, which is where the relics are enshrined. A further view of the garden, another view of the garden where we have the pole where we raise the flags, Mother's flag on important days, Darshan days, New Year's Day, and such like. And then the final photo on the bottom right is the front of our New Creation Hall. So what's been happening over the years? As I said, we started off very small, and then lots of lecturers have visited the center since 1982, and some very eminent speakers, both from Pondicherry and elsewhere. People like Rohit Mehta, Maheshwari Ji, Madhusudan Reddy, Anand Reddy, Sundaram, Dr. Nath Kearney, just to name a few. But the most poignant moments were when Champaglal Ji had visited and stayed at the center on 2 occasions for several days in 1985 and 1988. And it was his very quiet assurance that this would be a center established in a certain way that has certainly given us the impetus to where we are now. In 1993, Oromira Center played a very big part in the centenary celebrations of Sri Aurobindo's return to India. And this is where we had a small bust of Sri Aurobindo made, and took this bust all over England where Sri Aurobindo had been. So not only his residences in London and Manchester, but also his school, which is now a hotel, St. Paul's Hotel, which was St. Paul's School before, and also when he had visited for his holidays in the Lake District. So the bust did the same sort of trip all over before it departed UK to return to India, which is where it is now. And similarly, Oromira Center had a part to play in having a blue plaque put outside Sri Aurobindo's residence in Shepherd's Bush in London, and also ensuring that the library at King's College in Cambridge University had all the volumes of Sri Aurobindo's works. In the year 2000, my father, the founder of Oromira Center, Mr. Vijan Manek, had this concept of Matrugod community, Matrugod meaning the mother's lap. And he started this project with a vision to have a community of like-minded devotees and people who would think alike, would work together, serve the divine in the same way, and build up a community. And perhaps in the future, the vision was that at some point they would also live together as well around the relics. And since then, we've had many regular and occasional visitors. There's quite a large footfall. It obviously was not so much during the pandemic where we had closed the center, but instead we had built up a very regular and forceful online presence. But more recently, again, the footfall has increased. In 2001, we built the New Creation Hall next to the shrine for lectures and workshops, which I'll show you in a few moments. And more recently, we're trying to develop collaborations with overseas centers. So SAIEN, obviously being part of it, is one of these, but also on Sunday, a few days ago, on the 7th, we had a joint meditation with the Italian Center and the Kenya Center as well. And it was a wonderful experience to have this joint collaboration, and hopefully many more to come in the future. This is a photo of our relics, the Samadhi, where the relics are in the center. It's a very large room, and so we meditate here on darshan days, but otherwise people are able to come and meditate here whenever they want throughout the day. On the right-hand side is a photo through the glass door of the new creation room, and this is where we have our lectures and workshops and other big events, and you can see the mother's chair placed. So when we have our workshop, we actually have a semicircle around the chair so that we know that the mother is presiding in our workshop. In terms of our regular activities, like all other centers, we celebrate Darshan days. So that's with a morning meditation at the shrine, and then an evening program of prayers, meditation, and music in our meditation room. Similarly, we celebrate New Year's Day with a bonfire on the previous night across midnight leading into the new year. And then in the morning of New Year, we do candle lighting by children. We also have similar meditations on the 17th November and 5th December. And for the last 5 or 6 years, we have quite large WhatsApp groups for prayers at 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and 9 p.m. So what the idea here is that on those 3 occasions in the day, we facilitate people to pause for a moment from whatever they're doing to read a quote or hear a quote or a reading of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and also have some meditation music. Usually Sunil does music. And so this happens regularly 3 times a day. One of our biggest activities, which has been going on since the year 2000, since the Matra Growth concept was materialized, are the workshops that we have on Sundays. So on the 1st and 3rd Sundays, we meet for about 90 minutes. It used to be at the center, but more recently, because of the pandemic, we are doing this online for the moment, where we choose a topic and read through the topic, the guidance provided by the Mother and Sri Aurobindo, but we do discuss it. And the idea here is that we end the workshop by reflecting on what we've learned to then make a decision on how to make changes within ourselves. So these are genuine workshops where we're looking to change ourselves from within based on the guidance that we've just read. And then on the 2nd Sunday of each month, we have our Savitri study circle, which has been going on for about almost 6 years. And it took us 5 years to go through Savitri from beginning to end on these Sundays. And recently we finished it. And so currently we are reading the letters on Savitri in the same way. Every Saturday we read to the Mother. And this is both at the center and also online. And it's an hour-long reading where we read always from Savitri and prayers and meditations. And then currently we are reading through the Life Divine and on education. And here there's no discussion. It just is a reading, and it's done by the people who attend on any one day. Twice a week, that's on a Wednesday and on a Sunday, we send out emails to our membership. And there's at least, I think, 300 to 350 members that I think we have on our database. And we include in this lines from Savitri, or previously it was thoughts and aphorisms, and then some guidance from Mother and Sri Aurobindo on certain themes. And these are the quotes that we eventually upload on our website. So we have got some going back to the year 2000. And because of COVID, we, like other centers, have gone into online lectures as well. So it's been a real pleasure to have invited so many speakers from abroad to join us. And sometimes these take place in place of the workshops, and sometimes there are standalone lectures. So as part of our 150th celebrations, we recently had a talk on the Isha Upanishad by Professor Banerjee, Debashish Banerjee. And the week before that, we had a talk on Sri Aurobindo Sadhana to Supermanhood by Kirit Joshi. So we've got many others planned throughout the year. And last year, we started a new activity, which is the invocation of the Divine Mother on 5 special puja days. Puja days like the Durga Puja, Lakshmi Puja, Saraswati Puja. And the idea there is to adorn the mother's chair and then have a prayer and meditation meeting around the chair on these special days. So this is the inside view of our new creation hall. In fact, the photo on the top left was taken just last Sunday as we are preparing for a musical program this Sunday. And this will be as part of our celebrations. So these are devotional songs dedicated to the mother and Sri Aurobindo. On the bottom left is a typical scenario of our lectures. This is how we would sit to listen to lectures. So it's a very good use of the room. And this room also houses reference books and also books for sale. And many people use it as a library as well. On the top right is the mother's chair, as it is normally, and then sometimes adorned in this way with flowers around it. And during darshan days, it will be adorned in a more elaborate and elegant way. This is a view of our meditation room. So this is how we would decorate for our darshan days and special days. And the bottom left view is of the meditation room, looking at it from the garden. And then on the right-hand side is our typical decoration for darshan days. So this was a previous 15th of August decoration. And this Saturday, a lot of our devotees, our regular devotees, who I call flower girls, will be getting together to do a similar decoration for the 15th. And here's a picture of our adornment of the mother's chair for the special puja days. And then for each day, when we have the prayer and meditation meeting, there are specific readings that are read out. So these are sort of live streamed from the center for those who cannot attend. And similarly, our darshan days are also live streamed for many people who cannot attend at the center. So in a way, it's been a real blessing that we have outreach to many more people than we used to have before. And finally, what is the Oromira Center vision? So I started off by saying that we want to rise to a higher consciousness to harmonize all countries. So we regard Oromira Center as a center of harmony, and to build on the community of like-minded devotees to work together for the same goal. Also want to be a center of education. And on that front, there was a time in the 90s and early 2000s when some of the older devotees used to take classes of little children for basic education as directed by the mother. And these children are now themselves adults and remain devotees at the center. And the hope is that the cycle like that would continue. It is a center of aspiration and inspiration. And on that front, I would like to say that there have been many people who have found a lot of inspiration, especially in the new creation hall, where they've completed theses, written books, written poetry, all around Sri Aurobindo's philosophy. And we would like to facilitate that particular vision of inspiration. And it is a center for service. All our regular devotees have their own jobs and roles at the center, and everyone works in harmony. And there's plenty of opportunity for people to serve the divine at the center. And then culminating, when you put all of these together, we would hope that this is an ideal center for individual and collective progress. And finally, I'd like to say that please do visit us when you visit England, the land where Sri Aurobindo had been for 14 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
ओम आनंदमयी चैतन्यमयी सत्यमयी परमयी Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Aurobindo. Ompuri, a city for the divine, where we aspire for the divine, live for the divine, act for the divine. The seed of this model town, Ompuri, have its root in the mother's world. Mother said, once, however, the connection between the supermind and material being is made, it must have its effect in the outward world in the form of a new creation, beginning with a model town and ending with a perfect world. So in 1951, a small booklet, Ideal Child, was published and was translated into Gujarati, Adas Balak. This booklet was to be distributed all across Gujarat, and that decision was taken under the guidance of Ambubai on the 20th of July, 1952. Sundaramji, a well-known poet and turned sadhaka and follower of the mother and Sri Aurobindo, for this purpose extensively traveled the state of Gujarat for about 46 days during March of April 1953. And in the Sibir, the first Sri Aurobindo Sibir was held at Arela, district Kheda of Gujarat, during 15th to 18th May 1955. And it was felt to organize more such Sibirs. This is the photograph of Arela Sibir and Sundaramji there. So, in one of the Sibirs at Ganganath, on the banks of Narmada River, during 19th to 13th November 67, all the present there collectively aspired to have a township for Gujarat. And this prayer was offered to the mother in the Sibir itself on the 12th of November 67. These are the Gangnath Sibir photographs. Dalta, the Sundaramji delivering a talk, and the Sibirarthi there. The mother granted the prayer and aspiration of the sadhaks and named the township Ompuri and gave it in her own handwriting, both in English and Sanskrit, on the 1st of December 67. So, Ompuri made a branch of Sri Aurobindo Society on 25th of February 69 with the mother's blessing. A city for the divine, where we aspire for the divine, live for the divine, act for the divine. Ompuri is situated on the banks of river Vatrak, village Mata district Kheda of Gujarat. This is the entry gate of Ompuri. It is in the outskirts of village Mata district Kheda. The present land, at measuring around 23 acres of land, was acquired from the government, and the mother blessed the site plan of Ompuri on 7th March 1971, and the land was actually acquired on 21st October 81. The Ompuri has a Prarthana Khand, meditation room. This is the puja there. Here is a small clip to enter into Prarthana Khand, the meditation room. mother's photograph. This is Sundaramji's. 4 aspects of the mother photographs, blessings, and photograph of Samadhi. The Pratna Khand is also having map of undivided India. This is the photo on one of the Diwali days. The Ompuri has at the center Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir. Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir's foundation stone was laid by revered Champaklalji on 11th November 1983. And also on the same day, the foundation stone for the residential unit were also laid. On 11th November 1998, relics were installed in Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir by Sudha Sundaram, daughter of Sundaramji, in the presence of Sri Champaklalji, Amba Premji, and all the dignitaries. Here are the few photographs. This is the way to Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir, where the relics are enshrined. Here is a clip. This is Samadhi, where the relics are enshrined. Exactly in the face of Samadhi, Sri Aurobindo's bust and just behind it, the mother's flag. Samadhi and bust of Sri Aurobindo inside Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir. Sri Aurobindo's bust was installed inside Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir on 20th February 2021. There are 4 pillars outside the 4 corners of Mahamandir, named after Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. And the foundation was laid for these pillars on 25th May 1990. And the lotuses on the pillar were installed on 11th November 2017. Here is a small clip. This is one of the pillars. Just near Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir, there is Vedi. In its foundation, all soil and water from all the centers of Gujarat have been installed there. The 11th November is a very special day for Ompuri. It is a relics installation day, and every year it is celebrated with a bonfire at 5 or 4 p.m. in the early morning, And the whole Ompuri is decorated with diya. This is the photograph of bonfire and inside Mahamandir in the early morning. This is 150th year. So it is 150th diyas were there in front of burst. There is a place called Nikunj, where Sundaramji felt the concrete presence of the mother and used to conduct civils there. Here in this photograph, participants filing a march past at Nikunj. There's a very beautiful and wonderful sunrise at Ompuri. In the early morning, the participants of Sri welcome the sunrise and the sun with Sri Aurobindo's Nutana Gayatri Mantra. Civils are conducted in various forms and types. Here is an altar and the students gathering and the civil outside. These are some of the photographs of civil in the open space. During civil, in the early morning, the participants saluting mother's flag before the march past. Here it is light exercises before the march past and the photograph of march past during the civil. We used to meditate in the Sri Aurobindo Mahamandir with the ashram music or the mother's music. During the civil, tree plantations activities are also there. So here few photographs are there. Ompuri takes various crops of vegetables and fruit grains on its land of 23 acres. Ompuri has a Gaushala. These are its photographs. About 10 to 12 cows are there, and the milking activities are there, and the milk is supplied to the society there at the Mata, and then it goes to Amul Dairy. Beauty of the Mother Nature in Ompuri is phenomenal. One just can't imagine. Here it is a clip. You can hear the chirping of the birds. The sky. There are other visitors also. Peacocks, squirrels, even monkeys. The Ompuri has a residential facilities with its basic infrastructure. That were 15 units, residential units, out of which 4 units are used for daily activities, while the others are used for stay for the participants during this event. Ompuri has a dedicated office where from administrative work is done. Ompuri, a city for the divine, where we aspire for the divine, live for the divine, act for the divine. Blessings by the mother. These are our contact details. Hope you have enjoyed this virtual tour of Ompuri and the vibrations containing therein. Jai Sri Ma, thank you. Dedicated at the lotus feet of the mother and Sri Aurobindo. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, SAIEN and Anuradha ji, for inviting us here to, it's been, I almost feel like I'm in a trance. I've been hearing so many different, presenters, and it's just wonderful to hear the work going on worldwide and just the dedication to Sri Aurobindo and the mother. So we're really grateful to be here. Ours is a school and a center in North Bangalore, and also on the outskirts of Dodbalapur town. We have 2 spaces, and we are completely inspired by the vision for integral education for our school, and also integral yoga and living. All life is a yoga is sort of how we look at it. One second, I'm just trying to move through. Yeah. So we began in 2010. And we began after a long journey of actually, prior to coming into this, we had served, many of us who are part of the school had served, many village schools in different parts of India, and also schools around the world. I myself used to live in the US as well. And we kept we kept feeling something was missing in education. And that's when we were introduced to Sri Aurobindo and the mother, and Auroville. We visited Auroville in 1999 and met one of our mentors there, who is no more, called Subhash sir, who was the coordinator for Isayambalam school in Auroville. So we had a few interactions with him and started visiting Auroville, explored Auroville in 1999, 2000. And I was still living in the US, and went through a lot of self-transformation after those visits, and finally felt inspired to come back to India and start. I didn't know exactly what, I just felt the pull to come back, and we followed our hearts, my husband and me. We came back to Bangalore and really felt the calling to actually work with the vision of Sri Aurobindo and the mother in integral education, to create a school for children and a center. I think what inspired us the most, which we felt was the missing piece, is the conscious transformation of ourselves as caregivers of children, parents and teachers, and making space for our own development, the self-development and transformation of all teachers and staff and caregivers of children, and started working with integral education experiments. We had learned from many different educators all over India, and started getting that into our school. I think the 2 areas of work are really the sacred classroom. It's a pedagogy. It's a learning system that we've created to make sure that our education system gives space for the integral growth of a child. I'll be describing that a little bit. And also our work on parenting, to bring in new consciousness into parenting and deconditioning in that process. Our vision is to inspire and encourage children to become abundant and conscious creators of their own lives, empowered by their soul. This is the vision with which we started, and which we've been functioning with. It's our 13th year of school now, and we've put in various attempts to really understand physical education, vital, mental, and psychic education. And so just some scenes from our school. One of our greatest inspirations is the mother's teachings, that parents and teachers are role models. So I think the one line that really stood out for us was, the first thing one needs to do is to become conscious and master oneself. So we started our teachers training not with how to work with children, but really how to be with ourselves. So we really acknowledge our own physical, vital, mental, and reaching that quiet space inside our own psychic being became the foundation for our teachers training. And I won't read the whole quote because I'm sure many of you are already familiar with it. So what we did was create a pedagogy called the Sacred Classroom, which had 3 parts to it. The first was to really honor a teacher's journey to consciousness, because we knew that without this, we'll just again end up, it just becomes about learning aids and the outer. So we made space working with teachers, making space in our school for weekly self-work, wisdom reflection circles, daily well-beings, and workshops for our own inner transformation. A lot of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother's books. Our mentor in Auroville, Subhash sir, he would also visit us. He's also guided us, and we've learned about things through him. In fact, I trained early on in our school's journey. I trained with Anuradha ji on integral education. We've had a few other mentors as well who we've learned from. And yeah, so we would make space for our own growth. That became the primary, and translate that every teacher who joins school, we would go through this, through integral education, through our readings on Isha Upanishad. We have also learned from different spiritual teachers, methods of yoga, meditation, breathing, and working with the 5 elements. So apart from the teacher's growth in consciousness, we brought in a learning process called 4-step learning, which made sure that it's not just the lesson that's completed, but the child that is in the center of the education. So we have a lot of reflection, pause and reflection at every step of our learning process. And this has made a big difference to us. It makes space for the child to remain connected to their physical being, their vital, their mental, and of course, psychic education is a much more silent realm. So through the learning process itself, through whatever it is that the child is learning, we make sure that things are addressed. The child owns the learning, feels included. It's a very immersive, joyful, non-coercive, non-punitive environment. And I think over the 13 years, what I've seen makes the biggest amount of difference is the questions we ask our children, so they are able to reflect for themselves. They are in touch with their inner being. We make many opportunities for that. How do you feel? What are you learning from this? We also make sure that through the reflection process, the mental being is addressed really well. And there's a certain wideness in perspective. Children learn, teachers learn that everyone perceives things through their own journey. So we've done a lot of that. And the third component of the sacred classroom is really bringing in a sense of sacred in the environment. Like I mentioned, we have trained with some spiritual teachers on how to bring the Panchabhutas or the 5 elements into our daily lives. So as the mother teaches, beauty and harmony are really the essence. So every classroom, we keep that as the foundation. This work on sacred environment is something that we've also shared with many government schools, and even single room government schools have brought in that sense of sacred in very simple ways into their classroom to bring in and emphasize harmony, emphasize beauty and create that right vibration for children to learn. And we always honor a teacher's innate creativity. So this has sort of become our foundation. A lot of work with opening and closing ceremonies, because Sri Aurobindo always talked about how the inner being needs to be harmonized for learning. It's not just about, learning aids and pumping information into a child, but a child's nerves and the whole being needs to be harmonized. So we worked on that. There are peace corners in every classroom. So a sense, any child or any teacher can just go and come back, return to peace and come back. So this is emphasized as well. I'm just having some pictures here. These are teachers' creations. They just create in whatever way they want. I'm just going to touch on a few aspects of the school and our experiments, because it's, given that it's a 10-minute time frame. I think we've done a fair amount of work on on looking at the vital and looking at 2 principal aspects: development and use of the sense organs, and really cultivating that inner beauty through arts in various forms in school, and developing self-awareness, progressive. This is something that's cultivated again from a very young age, all the way from 3 years through teenage years. The children are encouraged to reflect in age-appropriate ways and really develop that self-awareness. And so, of course, Sri Aurobindo's quote that was very inspiring for us: the education of the intellect, divorced from the gradual perfection of the emotional nature, is injurious to human progress. So we never wanted our school to just get reduced to mental education, but really look at the whole. So I've just got some pictures, a few activities for refinement of the vital, and of course with flowers. A lot of it is with flowers, and the the children participate and create these, another portion that I'm just going to touch on is our work on cultivating inner awareness. We've developed over 13 years, looked at very age appropriate, like a 3-year-old, what one works with a 3-year-old in very simple ways, they're actually very tuned into themselves, to all the way through adolescence. How do we retain that inner awareness, that connection with the self? Some of the practices, there are many, I'm just listing a few: breathing exercises, a lot of calming practices of meditation, and the children's favorite is mandala meditations, emotional intelligence games, body awareness, really mental awareness, understanding, our thoughts and the power of those, peace corners, and many more. This is our work. And we've been lucky enough, with the Mother's Grace, to share some of this with government schools in both Karnataka as well as Odisha state, as well as many schools. Whoever has been interested, we've been able to share them. So this is a kit that all of us have put together. Many of us as teachers have worked with children, just to a series of games that we can introduce into the classroom to bring in and cultivate self-awareness in children. Another area that is one of my favorites, I'm just touching on some of these that work really well with children, is the process of intuitive art, where, all the way from self-expression to really allowing them to calm down, come back into harmony, come back into peace. It's been wonderful work with adolescents and as well as little children, all the way from, we've worked a lot on, when teenagers go through their ups and downs, this kind of work has been really wonderful. And a lot of free-flowing art in early childhood as well. So these are just some glimpses of our school. Our school works with children from, in addition to children who attend school who are able to pay fees, we support a lot of children from our, from who are not able to, completely free schooling as well as a bridge school for children of migrant laborers, and a small creche for children of migrant laborers as well. And apart from that, like I mentioned, we worked a lot with government schools, both in Karnataka as well as in Odisha. Our center continues to do a lot of work in the area of bringing in, integral education as well as parenting, a lot of consciousness and deconditioning work with parents. And really, I think in summary, all I'll say is, for us, we read a lot of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo's teachings on a weekly basis. Every week there is time for reflection and self-development. There are also different tools which we have learned over the years to also utilize that and learn, this journey of self-mastery. I think what I would say is, our work, of course, has been deeply, soul satisfying in a way. But I think what I would say the most is, with the Mother's blessings, it has been our own transformation. It has been a journey of our own transformation. And, depending on what children are ready for, they take that from and grow with that. So it's just, I'm going to request Reshma to just add a few more words to this. So this is sort of a very quick summary within 10 minutes. There are many other areas I'm not touching. I work in physical education or psychic education, or life is yoga, how we pause, and all of our work, we really look to see, where am I operating from, and the Mother's guidance on, how we need to be aware of all our impulses, all our tendencies, and really master those in our journey of working. It's been a wonderful, challenging, and very blessed journey. And over to you, Reshma. Just a few lines from you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Jay and Jayashree, for this. Starting with what she has ended with, which is this free art for early childhood education. I remember as teachers, when we started looking at our own self-transformative process, when we first were asked to look into free art for ourselves, it was a revelation to understand that children have in them already that intuitive ability, and we as adults, to transform back ourselves into simpler human beings, need to go there. and come from there. So a lot of our work starts with, as she said, transforming ourselves, working very rigorously and practically with ourselves to recognize what is in us, which is already in us, which we may not have explored completely. And once we're able to do that, then we are able to just be present for children and be present so free that they can grow to their highest potential and their fullest without us actually interfering or creating baggages in them in any way. I think that's one big part of creative, where we are constantly looking at self-awareness, understanding how our physical body, our emotional, our vital body, our mental body, and our psychic body and our spiritual body interplay. And Sri Aurobindo's words on the fact that the mind has to be consulted in its own growth, as to what that growth is and where that growth is a big part of contemplative work that we do in silence. One of the things that we have truly understood over the years is what Jayashree in her Sacred Classroom Philosophy talks about: a sacred pause. Being really able to pause to notice these in us, notice the different beings in us, and see how they work and interplay and how they create a sense of well-being if they're all taken care of, if we can tune all of it. So the education then that we work with the children, the curriculum that we work with the children, looks into fine-tuning the physical body, the vital body, the mental body, and hence the emergence of the psychic body into action, into this real world out here. So it's a pursuit, it's a journey. We are 13 years old as a center, and Sri Aurobindo's works on integral yoga, life divine, the different subconscious levels of the interplay between the different bodies, and the mother's works on her collected works, her writings on education are something that really inspire us. And we work with them through contemplation, through reading, through silence, through also seeing practically how it affects us on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, I think we might be out of time, Sonam.
Yeah, I think hopefully we've not shot past time too much. So thank you for this opportunity, Anuradha ji, just to share a glimpse of.
Thank you, Anuradha. And my collaborator, Bina, is also here. It's really been amazing to see all these different reflections of what Sri Aurobindo and Mother's inspiration and vibrance has manifested all over the world. And I think especially this last one, being connected to Auroville as we are, it's amazing to see the inspiration of Auroville going out into the world and being manifested in such a beautiful way. The way Jayashree was describing the work, it's just incredible, and I hope to be able to visit and see it in person sometime. Bina and I are representing Auroville International USA, and that's our primary connection to this world of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, this manifestation of Auroville itself. And I first visited Auroville in 2000 and connected with Sri Aurobindo and the Mother at that time, and have stayed connected over these years. And I'm currently the president of the Auroville International USA Board of Directors. And this is also Bina. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. That was such a beautiful presentation. I'm honored to be here. I grew up in Auroville. My mother was actually just recalling we came to Pondicherry on August 7th, 53 years ago, and took a rickshaw from the bus station to the ashram and started our journey then. So I grew up in Auroville and then came to the US, and I've been working with AVI USA now for a while. And I'm excited to share a little bit about our work with you.
So I'm going to share a short video just to give an overview of some of our work, and then we'll explain a little bit more afterwards. So you could see some of the basic work that we're doing through that video. That our primary purpose as Auroville International USA is to support the Auroville project in India. And that's basically what we do in all these different permutations. And Bina can talk a little bit about some of the outward-facing initiatives, through social media and these live videos and live interactions that we create. And I'll show some examples while she's talking. Go ahead, Bina.
So our efforts on social media is to share. There's so much going on in Auroville, and there's so many projects, and most people only know about one slice of Auroville or the other, if they know about Auroville. So our efforts on social media are to bring more information to those who know a little bit about Auroville, and to bring Auroville to people who don't even know anything about Auroville through the many different good works going on in Auroville. Currently, our Facebook page, we have a post a day that shares some aspect of Auroville, and it's Auroville International USA on Facebook. We have about 4,000 followers right now. And Instagram is Auroville International USA also. And we have about 660 followers there. And we also try and host sometimes live events from Auroville. This morning we shared a little bit from a Youth Link fair that they were having. We invite you to come and join our community there. And then our website, aviusa.org, has links to all of the different things that we are doing. Auroville Live is probably one of our primary resources, because it is where we store all of the links to our live events. We have done in the past, we just recently hosted the premiere of Inian, which was a whimsical film from Auroville. And as you see, Matthew scrolling down some of the other things that have live events we've had, we house them under something called our tea shop. And our tea shop is basically where we work with a project in Auroville to bring people together on Zoom to view a movie or learn more about a project and interact with the people who are the project holders. And then of course, we also have Matramandir and I. These are past events that we hosted where the filmmaker interviewed people who worked on Matramandir. The online tea shop events and interviews. And we invite you to come look at our Auroville Live page. We have all the different collaborations that we've done in the past with different people in Auroville. And then we also have our eConnect, which is a monthly newsletter that currently is emailed to our global community. We have approximately 3,000 people on our mailing list right now. And there too, we try and highlight what is happening, some of what's happening in Auroville, some of the projects, and whatever the new lives are that we're hosting. And this is an effort to connect. So these are just some of the beautiful things from our newsletter. And then we also we also send out by mail another newsletter called Connect. It's semi-annual, and it goes out only in the USA because it's just the costs of mailing. The snail mail goes out only in the US, but we have about 3,000 people we send it out to in the US. And it is another touch point to learn about something in Auroville. The last one was on innovations in waste in Auroville. and the recycling, upcycling, repurposing culture in Auroville. And these are often things that many people don't know that much about, so it's a real opportunity for us to learn about it and share it with our global community. I guess I'm passing the baton back to you, Matthew.
Okay, so I mean, the other things just outward facing that we do are people who want to go to Auroville, we help them make connections and navigate the complex, entangled web that is Auroville, finding places to stay and people to connect to. And we also host people from Auroville coming, especially to the US, to make presentations, do workshops, share the beauty of what they're offering to the world. And so, you know, these are all these kind of outward facing things are the ways that we share what's happening in Auroville with the world, the diversity and the beauty of the way Sri Aurobindo and Mother's vision is manifesting as a concrete, specific community in a place on earth, you know, sharing that message with the world. That's kind of what we feel as part of our mission. And we also support Auroville by raising money and sending money. There was actually a figure in the video that was not contextualized correctly. It said something about we've raised almost $1 million in the past fiscal year for Auroville. The actual time frame is from the beginning of January 2020. So since January 2020, we've raised and sent about $1 million to Auroville for different projects. About 20 to 25% of that has been unrestricted funding that we've been sending to the Budget Coordination Committee for use in Auroville's basic services, just to make sure that things like people's maintenances and the schools and the roads and kind of shared services are supported. And the rest of that is for various projects, the Mach Mandir, land purchases. We supported Auroville Radio, we supported YouthLink, and just there's dozens and dozens of different amazing projects happening there that we've been supporting. There's in addition to sending, like basically working with donors throughout the US and throughout the world and helping them connect to projects, we also support the projects themselves to develop their fundraising infrastructure and capacity. So we're doing coaching and technical support, and we have a subscription with fundraising software that we let any of the units use for free. They can incorporate it into their websites. So kind of helping the flow of funding to Auroville, just open. There's been a lot of challenges in that area in the past, having to do with the way money gets from America to India, and just trying to open up and create pathways for that to make it simpler. And we were able during COVID actually to do a specific fundraising campaign that was like a paycheck protection program. So to send money so that people who were employing local folks in the villages, we were able to continue during the time of the lockdowns and the extreme economic contraction that was happening there. So that's another thing that we were able to do kind of because of the infrastructure that we've developed. And another big project that we've been working on over the past few years is called Flourish. So it's a specific research project looking at like Auroville's economy, and specifically projects that are scalable, reproducible, and sustainable, and how we can support those projects, unblocking, logistical administrative barriers, providing them key support, creating shared services that different projects can use, with the idea that both Auroville's economy as a whole will benefit from these projects going out and making connections out in the world, and also the world will benefit. There's a way that Sri Aurobindo and Mother's mystical vision is involved in not just the air and the earth and the soil and the water of Auroville, but also in the consciousness and the manifestation of the different projects. And so when these projects go out into the world, their vision, their work is also going out into the world and touching people all over the world. So the practical seed of that is this Flourish project, which started as a research project and is continuing to kind of understand and start to break down barriers for scalable projects to reach out into the world. And I think that's about what we have to share.
I also wanted to remind you as we end about the upcoming collective event of SAIEN. 22nd February, we had the first collective event when we launched SAIEN. And 6 months down the line now, 22nd August, because 15th, everybody's so busy. So we decided to keep it for 22nd August is the second event. And I'm requesting each one of you to be present, to encourage so many people to be present and to share the info. We'll be sending out the mailers again after 15, so that when you have more time to give to it. But between 16th and 21st, please reach out to as many people as you can to be present. So with this, we come to the end of this series of webinars. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure and so illuminating to listen to how everybody is in their own ways, sincerely, doing something. It's just wonderful. And I'm going to miss the webinars. So I hope lots of other centers join so that we can have another series. Okay, so we will end here. We can end with a moment of silence. We look forward to Sri Aurobindo's birthday, and everybody have a beautiful 15th August, and then see you on 22nd. Thank you.